Deleted session, March 19, 1979. Now you read an article about a child suddenly cured of arthritis by a healer, and you wondered about it. You mentioned telepathy, and wondered what the child was picking up from the parents. Here I want to emphasize the importance that telepathy can play, and the vital role of suggestion. Children are extremely sensitive, of course, to their parents' feelings and beliefs, particularly since they are dependent upon the parents to meet their needs. They can accept roles in somewhat the same way that children play at being sick, and in extreme cases, some children find the game becomes only too real. In a way, the child allowed itself to be hypnotized into the condition, the symptoms becoming potent physical post-hypnotic suggestions. The parents did not want the child to suffer, but on the other hand, the mother was early frightened by the idea of a vital male baby, who might be overly rambunctious and difficult to control. She was overly fearful. Ironically enough, for the child's safety, and hence he developed a condition that kept him under scrutiny all the while. The child would not be run over by a car, for example, or pick up diseases from other children in school when he grew. He would be protected. The diseases showed itself early. The mother wanted the child to stay still, was worried lest it fall. It was actively motivated toward lack of motion. Such exaggerated fears, of course, were a strong element in the family itself, so that the family did not feel free to move. The woman was not easy in social life, and could now stay home to care for the small invalid. The child wanted to please the parents. He received an overabundance of sympathy, special treats, and so forth, so that his condition brought more and more rewards, even as he became more uncomfortable. The child responded in such a manner because of its own characteristics. Another child, for example, might have become overactive in rebellion. In a strange fashion, the pain represented heightened sensitivity, extremely unpleasant, but also represented a vital emotional bodily response of a direct nature. In other ways, the family behaved opaquely. Nothing seemed clear-cut. Unfortunately, cries of pain brought the child instant attention, and they were often exaggerated. The child wanted out, finally, but did not know how, for he had allowed the destructive game to become real. The healer was the hypnotist in reverse. The doctors had always acted doubtful and professed pity, and the child recognized their feelings of helplessness. The healer expressed confidence. The healer believed the child could be healed. Telepathically, this was known. The man could stop the game. The healer instantly read the boy in framework 2. Whereas time is foreshortened, so in your turns, results can appear far more quickly than in usual turns. The healer telepathically reminded the child that he was indeed full of energy and vitality. When this was fully understood, the previous suggestions vanished with their results. It is possible that such a healing can automatically give the family as a whole a new set of beliefs. If not, of course, one member or another may become ill, or the child might have a relapse. As probabilities go, however, The child's experience is enough to show it that such illness can indeed vanish overnight. Now that knowledge is a part of that child's experience, and the cure will be the great event of his life, in that it will always be in the back of his mind as he grows. Get our friend some Paul Moss. The child becomes a teacher for the parents, for the doctors who treated him, for the people who read the Equator, and for all the people who will meet the child as he matures. Remember the old man. Here the hypnosis, the suggestions were self-applied. Although many came from society's beliefs, the man was a contractor, given to physical labor in his younger years, but convinced that the minute he retired his body would begin to fail. It would deteriorate with age. Furthermore, he believed that physical exertion was life itself, and he little appreciated the world of the mind. So little by little, the self-suggestions took effect. His illness itself made him question, until finally he realized the great mental vitality he possessed. That mental vitality led him to tread his body once again, and to act in direct contradiction to those previous beliefs of the doctors, family, friends, and the society that had so bound him. Your friend Bob McClure believes that the self cannot be trusted. These beliefs coming from his parents' interpretation of Christianity. Your friend then turned to other religions that still strayed the same beliefs, though in a more exotic form. To him, sexual love must stand in direct opposition to spiritual love, so that his relationships with women put him in an impossible situation. And the desire itself ultimately becomes a condition from which one must escape. In the terms of earthly bliss, there is but one escape from desire. A man only gives up his soul when he has not met it face to face. And that is like bidding adieu to a stranger you have met at a train station. Little loss, for you do not know what you have missed. A note to our friend Susan. She is overly identifying as a woman who happens to be an individual, instead of as an individual who happens to be a woman, and therefore finding herself involved in quite unnecessary dilemmas. Rupert is doing very well, removing the suggestions that have resulted in the symptoms, and finally beginning to tread the body. As the spring lamb trusted its body and its being, that trust is all that is required. Ralph noted to me, when you consider your creative pursuits, trust the body of your creativity, and stop making judgments like this or that will probably never be done or finished, and therefore limiting your probabilities. Remember framework 2. And now, I bid you a fond good evening. Ralph said, thank you, Seth.